I'm recording.
Okay, cool. I literally waited for you that entire time. While you were holding that out, I waited for you to tell me that you were recording. And I'm glad you are now. Yeah, here's my story. I woke up this morning. I get up at 5 every day regardless, right? But I don't get out of bed at 5 every day regardless. I get up every day at 5 regardless. So I woke up today at 5 and I had a message from a friend that was like, are you awake from like 3 a.m., right? This is a friend from Run Club. A good friend of mine from Run Club. She texted me at 3 a.m. That was, are you awake? That's always a weird text to get from somebody at 3 a.m. And then I woke up properly got up, called my dad, said happy Father's Day because it's Father's Day. Woo!
Oh, it's Father's Day.
Yeah, it's Father's Day, baby. But then
happy Father's Day to all
the dads.
All the fathers.
Anybody who's ever been a dad to anybody, whether you're a single mom or whatever, happy Father's Day. If you're doing some dadding, right? If you're showing some things, if you're sharing, if you're imparting some respect and stuff like that, if you're like trying to make better humans out there, congrats. Happy Father's Day. Also, if you're a biological father, extra happy Father's Day. So then I wake up and I'm chatting. Like, I sent her a message back. I'm like, I was not, but I'm awake now. What's up? And then she just sends back a picture of, like, a busted up knee. Like, just big gash in it. And I'm like, the fuck happened here? And she's just like, my friend and I were trying to film that TikTok where you're running from the cops. And I was like,
what?
You mean you were running from the cops? Well, here's the thing.
What?
I live in an area that is very much liberal and conservative in that everybody is related to someone or like 3 degrees of separation from someone who is in law enforcement or a first responder of some sort. And then also is like 3 degrees of separation away from someone who like has been illegally growing cannabis their entire life. Like that's just my area. You're related to or closely associated with someone from each group. But they were actually running from a cop and friend, a person that we all know, and filming that TikTok where, like, you turn around because they say something that compliments you or whatever. You know what I mean? Have you seen that one?
No, because I'm not on TikTok.
Okay, well, they're doing that, and they're running up the hill from the bar I just played a show at the other night, and she biffed it hard. Like, this was busted open, and here's the funny thing. I am not a doctor. I don't know why she called me, but and I may have done her a disservice, but I immediately went into doctor mode and just started assessing this injury. And like I'm like zooming in on the picture. I'm like, yeah, definitely go to urgent care and get some stitches. Even like you're gonna want to get that. Is it still bleeding? She's like, yeah, it's still bleeding. I'm like, yeah, go to urgent care. God, like,
yeah, if it's still bleeding 2 hours later, that's a bad.
5 hours later, and it's a little bit right. Well, here's what the wounds. I'm like the wound's trying to close itself. Just because you get stitches doesn't mean it's the worst thing in the world. Like I'm actually talking to her like I'm doing like this whole. And then I got off and I felt really good about myself for a second. But then like I got a voice in my head like when I accomplish something like that where like it's an area where I have experiential expertise but not real expertise, right? I'm like, wow, you did a good job coaching somebody through that scenario. And then I have a voice in the back of my head that's like, you're not a fucking doctor. Who the fuck are you?
Doing? Wait, what was the hill like concrete or was it like a grass hill?
Yeah. No, she definitely needs like a couple stitches, and this is me going back into that. She definitely needs a couple stitches, and then I'm like, can you bend it? Or can you bend it this way? Can you bend it that way? But I've had that injury from skateboarding, you know, so like with my experience of having the injury, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I can actually shed some light from experience on this. And what's funny is, as I was explaining, she was like, I knew you were the person to call. Like,
so, Kevin, would you say that she was running up that hill, running up that mountain, I gotta learn the lyrics to that song.
That's the running gag for this season. Are you ready to clap?
I am ready to clap.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of the UnPop podcast. I am your Capitan and registered physician, todo siempre, Kevin Minor. Him with me as always is
Odie Matthews playing that 3D chess while you're playing one-dimensional checkers as I'm in the kitchen cooking up delicious content that he.
All right, way to come in and just insult me. Jesus Christ. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to play 3D
Fuck
chess.
you and your checkers.
I don't know how to play 3D chess, but I'll tell you what, if you call me up and you ask me how to play 3D chess, I'm going to try to have some expertise on that.
Good.
Odie, let's get right into the news.
Yeah, baby. It's the UnPop News coming at you fresh and hot from the command deck of the SS Marlon Brando. Let's see what this week had in store.
What do you got for me this week?
I've got lots of news. Let's start with the most depressing.
You didn't even give
Brian
me a choice. You didn't say good news, bad news. Usually people are like, hey, good news or bad news? You get a choice. You're like, let's start with the most depressing. That actually, okay, that would be amazing if that's how the news went, so you knew by the end of it you'd be feeling better about the world. Like, imagine, like, welcome to NBC. We're going to start with the most depressing news. Let's hit it. All right.
A bus full of puppies was murdered. It's like,
No, murdered? That means someone
Murdered.
intentionally crashed that bus. Oh, my God. What's the depressing news, and hopefully it's not that bad?
Brian Wilson, one of the founders of the Beach Boys, died on my birthday at age 82.
Way to make it about you.
Yeah, I am.
Way to make it about you.
Just suddenly dropping I had a birthday.
Normally, we talk about when celebrities die on their own birthday. You're like, no, he died on my... You know what?
My birthday.
The audacity of this man.
Nah. Well, because I
Didn't
love
he
the
know
Beach Boys.
you love the Beach Boys?
Well, that's kind of why I'm a
all the
little
people
sad.
who have ever loved the Beach Boys, didn't he know you did?
Well, how many other people born on my birthday love the Beach Boys? Zero, Kevin. Zero.
Okay.
That's why.
You told me this news earlier this week, and
Yeah.
and my immediate response was, the Bare Naked Ladies are gonna have a field day with this one. I didn't even skip a beat, and
No, you
you didn't respond, which led me to believe that you had never heard the classic song by the Beach Boys called Brian Wilson. That's the literal name of the song, is Brian Wilson. And I just played it for you now, and
Yes.
you said it's in poor taste, but they wrote that song in the 90s.
Well,
that
then they know
song
he
is
was going to
just-
die 30 years later?
Yes. Yes, they did. He should have been listening. You know what? The main Beach Boy should have been listening to some Bare Naked Ladies, and he might have been able to avoid this, right?
You know what? It's true.
All right.
But I do love the Beach Boys. It is very sad because
I love one
very
Beach Boy, and it was Brian Wilson, so I no longer love the Beach Boys.
no, dude, their music is good.
No,
I
I'm
literally
kidding,
just got
I'm kidding.
I'm about to say, I just got like I got a deluxe vinyl for
Of
my
Pet
vinyl
Sounds.
collection. It's the Summer Jams of the Beach Boys, so it's two
okay.
vinyls double-sided with all their like Surfing USA and
Those are
other songs.
Those are the only jams you're allowed to have this summer on the podcast now.
Oh, Beach Boys?
Yeah, that's no.
I like
specifically each summer jam. You're
Okay.
gonna have to go sequentially
through it.
through the summer jams. You're like, track
You got it.
one, my jam this week. All right.
Because Beach Boys, I like the Beach Boys more than the Beatles. Hot take.
You know what? I'm just gonna take that because I don't know enough about. I feel like I know more about the Beatles from people who don't shut the fuck up about the
Yeah.
Beatles, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know enough people who don't shut the fuck up about the Beach Boys.
Oh, so you want me to never shut up about the Beach Boys from now on?
Go
I got you.
ahead.
Don't worry. They have a song called Kokomo. It's amazing.
I know that song because that's where. Okay, here's the funny. We've talked about this. I would love if the plot twist in Kokomo was that it was Kokomo, where you're from.
Kokomo, Indiana.
Yeah, where like the song is like, I want to take you to all these islands, but we're going to Kokomo, Indiana, baby.
There's Kokomo Beach, dude. It's a water park. It's closed. Anyways.
Anyway. Okay.
Didn't stay open very long.
That's also
Next
depressing
bit of
news.
Let's so I want to talk about some sequel news because we are obviously in that era where if a movie came out more than 5 years ago, people are going to try to make a sequel about it to capitalize on nostalgia.
Yes.
And the one that I think I'm skeptical about is
Garfield
Meet the Parents
3. Oh.
No, Meet the Parents 4
Okay.
with Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller.
Bloodshot
was
2.
announced. No. That's never gonna. I mean, sequels that people might actually want. From
Okay.
movies that people actually like.
Meet the Parents 4 is like, this is basically Ben Stiller's National Lampoons at this point. Like Ben Stiller's Chevy Chase, this is National Lampoons, Robert De Niro's in on it. Like, and it's just like, I feel like it's the same. Like, even though the jokes are different, I feel like the punchline is the same resonation in every film. It's like, isn't it weird how families are different? Like, you know, like, that's all it ever is. It's like, meet the parents, and they're fucking crazy. And then it's like, meet the fuckers, and they're fucking crazy. You know, and then you just keep going with it. And, like, it's just like, isn't it weird? Huh? Don't you think?
Well, how much more can you do it, right? Like,
you can't do it much more.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see it. You can't.
No, I've only seen the first one, dude.
Okay, Meet the Parents is funny. Meet the Fockers is funny. You could have ended it there because there's two families because they got married. Unless they're going to branch out into polygamy in this one, I don't care.
Or kids getting married into other families
well,
or something.
that's like Father of the Bride, right? Like,
Yeah,
you've got your
yeah.
Steve Martin, like Father of the Bride 15. She had quintuplets this time or something. You know, like, and then it's like dad of the father of the bride of the son who also is getting married now. Like,
yeah, it's
you
it's
just
like,
lose track.
It's like
My
the big fat
Greek
wedding
wedding.
movies. They yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Because like there's like 4 of them. Or
Yes.
what's the other one? It's
Sleepless in
Sarah-
Seattle.
that's another good one. But
Sex
like
in the
Jennifer
City.
something's baby.
Sleepless in the
something-
Seattle doesn't have a sequel.
It doesn't matter.
I just said Sleepless in the Seattle. Moving on.
Dude, we both didn't get a lot of sleep.
Moving
so.
on. Moving
Um,
on.
Okay, so this one I think might be my favorite bit of news
This
I've
one.
heard in a while.
Okay, hit me.
Spaceballs 2.
Oh yeah, no, you immediately
I-
responded to this
yes.
news. You didn't even wait for the podcast. You texted
No, I
me
immediately had to tell you.
Yeah.
Yes. Spaceballs 2 with Bill Pullman is
Yep.
apparently coming back
Yep.
with Lewis Pullman, potentially his son, who is just the Sentry in Thunderbolts, might be in this. Keke
Okay,
Palmer,
Lewis Pullman is awesome.
dude, look, I know some people are going to be like, oh, well, it's because his dad. I don't care. Lewis Pullman's a good actor, and he, like, sure, his dad's famous, but, like, he's good. I like him.
No, he is
was
good.
really
I like
good in a
him.
movie I saw earlier this year that I
Yeah.
forgot the name of. So,
Oh,
but
great.
Mel Brooks is going to be coming back as Yogurt as well as directing.
Which we love.
I love Spaceballs 2. My question is going to be Barf. I'm wondering how they're going to navigate that. But otherwise,
I feel like I don't think it's a question of navigation. Mel Brooks is fucking funny, and
Yeah.
I feel like writing John Candy out of a role is not hard for him. Like, that's a punchline. Like, that's it. Like, having Barf not in the movie is a punchline. Like, it'll be some joke about copyright. You know, like, that's all you have to do is, like, make it some meta joke about copyrights within the universe. You know, and like, it's like I'm the new non-trademarked Barf or something, right? Like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
I was thinking they might go. I was thinking it'd be kind of funny if Mel Brooks like kind of took some digs at the Star Wars sequel trilogy and used that to write Barf out. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I can see
he's
that.
Or like at the end, somehow Barf has returned.
Yeah,
Like,
that-
whatever.
Dude, somehow Barf has disappeared.
Yeah,
but, like,
exactly.
Rick Moranis is apparently coming back for this, and
Yeah, he's coming
for
out of
those-
retirement for it.
So he's coming out of retirement for something else, actually, and that's kind of this isn't
Oh,
news, but I did
segue.
want to I wanted to speak on this. So
All right, Dean
he didn't come
Kamen.
back. He didn't come back for Ghostbusters Afterlife or Frozen Empire. And when asked about it, he was like, "Well, it didn't really make sense for my character in that universe to be involved with it
Yeah, of course
because
not.
he right." And like I completely agreed with that. Like, would I have loved to have seen him? Sure, but those movies aren't very good, so it doesn't matter. The 2 new ones. But
Oh, I haven't seen either.
you're not missing anything.
Great.
He is coming back for a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids legacy sequel.
Okay, that's cool.
And that's what he's coming out of retirement for.
You know what's
but now
really
he's gonna be
sad
in this too,
about it
apparently.
is because of their lifespan, that really nice ant friend that they made is definitely dead now. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. That
Depressing
was depressing
news.
Yeah, depressing.
Welcome
That's my
to
job.
Depressing News, the segment.
My job.
It's whatever. An
Um,
ant lives like a month, man. Like,
Yeah, that ant was dead, but like long ago.
long ago.
Right after they met it.
The ant died in the 80s, baby. All right.
Did you see that? Well, what made me actually find that is recently they had the cast of the kids reunite and they had like some props from the movie and stuff, and they were
that's cool.
talking about it. Yeah, it was. Really cool.
I loved
like
that
Honey, I Shrunk
movie
the
as a
Kids.
kid. Dude,
Thank you.
that movie was like probably like around like age 3 or 4. That movie was on repeat, and that movie's like scary, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like, I also love one of my favorite like props from that movie was the entire scene that they built inside of the Lego hole. Right? Like, because they climb into the Lego to hide from the scorpion. Oh, my God. So good. All right.
It's been a while.
Yep.
Did you ever see Honey, I Blew Up the Baby?
Absolutely. Of course.
Okay.
I saw that at the drive-ins as a kid, man. As a kid. I saw that at the drive-ins. I remember, dude, we were loving it. Like, that's another movie. I'm glad there's no sequel because every punchline is like, wouldn't it be funny if a toddler thought that, like, the world was toys? Like, that's it. Like, that's the entire premise of the movie. All right, keep
I like
going.
it. All right, so moving over to DC for a second.
Yeah.
Let's talk Wonder Woman because
it's
now been announced that a Wonder Woman movie is in the works. Apparently,
cool.
a lot of people want Ana de Armas in the role, which is
Ana de Armas,
very.
Yep.
And I just find that funny because literally last week I kind of compared her acting in Ballerina to Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
Yep.
So,
well, other people obviously have made that comparison too, Odie.
Yeah, but I did it in a bad way.
Yeah, they did it in a good way, Odie.
I could see her being Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Because with someone like James Gunn at the helm of DC, I think you could get somebody that could write her in a way that she could fit that role.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. Because, like, one of the things that I was thinking about with Ana de Armas after we talked about Ballerina.
Hit it.
And when we were kind of talking about her acting is.
Tell me.
Like, in Knives Out, I think why she works so well in that role is, as I mentioned before, like, I think it's written to her strengths, but she's really good at conveying a lot of, like, more, like, sadness and confusion emotion and, like, more caring.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Like, she's very, like, empathetic and, like,
she has very good expressive features when she's showing that. Yeah.
And I think
because it's almost the same thing for her AI character in 2049.
Yeah.
Right? Like she almost like there's this somber sense. There's this ennui about her, if I might get a little esoteric and $5 with my words here. But she does have like this like it's good. It pulls on your heartstring a little bit, and you almost feel like you're looking at like a sad puppy. You know, you're like, oh, man. And she's good at that. You're right. So if she's cast as Wonder Woman, I'm glad because, one, like you said, James Gunn is in control of the DCU, so this puts her in the DCU. Two, it gives her an opportunity to do something different. I don't think that an actor's previous work is always indicative of what they're going to do next, right?
Agreed.
I mean, I think this is giving her an opportunity to play the Wonder Woman we've always kind of needed, you know?
Yep.
And I don't like either one of the Wonder Woman movies, and it's not for the Gal Gadot reason. It's for the actual writing and execution of the movie itself. Like the first one, I went in with, I don't even want to say a completely open mind. I was hyped. I was like, yeah, let's bring it on. She looks like Wonder Woman. The shots I've seen from the movie look dope. But then you've got these like the whole premise was like she's Wonder Woman. She's the most amazing of these Amazonian warriors. She's the fucking princess. She's going to be the queen one day. She's going to inherit the shit. She's strong. She doesn't need anything except for a love story hook. And I was like, fucking A. You know, like, and that really dropped the bomb. And then the second movie, I was like, okay, Kristen Wiig's in here. We're telling a different story this time. It's about female empowerment, but how sometimes empowerment can turn toxic. Good, we've got some good messaging. Let's check it out. 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh no, this is the same.
Pedro Pascal becomes a wish crystal.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
literal wish crystal.
Yeah, he becomes a wish crystal, and then she's like, and then Kristen Wiig's character is like, the way that it was written and executed felt one-dimensional, and I don't know who that's on, right? But like ultimately, watching it, it wasn't for the concept or contents that were being put into it, but the actual execution and like how it comes across after you're watching it is just bad. It's pallid, you know? That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get a better one with Ana de Armas.
I'm hoping that the final villain in the new Wonder Woman movie doesn't have a mustache and is supposed to be the Greek god of war, Ares.
Here's what I want to see. I want to see Ana de Armas as Wonder Woman. have a penultimate like I want a straight punch up for the final battle, like a real punch up between her and Cynthia Erivo, who plays fucking Elphaba. And like, wouldn't that be sick? I would just love
that would be
Cynthia
sick.
Erivo. I think would, one, play a great villain, and two,
totally.
have a great time doing it. I can't wait for Wicked Part 2 because she's going to be able to tap into, like, the full range of the emotions that Elphaba has, including being really fucking pissed. And what is a villain? Like, I think the good villains in especially superhero films are the ones that are really fucking pissed, but as a person watching the film, you're like, oh no, but I actually also kind of get where they're coming from, you know? And I feel like Cynthia Erivo could pull that off in the DCU. Like, she could just be like full of like rage and all of these emotions that we normally try to hold ourselves back from, and you would be like, no, but I identify with her. No, I'm with the villain on this. Yeah.
I will say, when it comes to Wonder Woman casting, I think there's a lot of good options that I've seen, a lot of names thrown around. I wouldn't particularly hate if the DC kind of did what Marvel did and cast people that maybe aren't superstars yet, maybe aren't super big, not complete unknowns, because, like, people say, oh, Chris Evans was an unknown. No, dude, he was a superhero before. He was in movies. But, like, I wouldn't mind seeing somebody fill the role that isn't already in everything we see. Because, like, here's the thing that's funny about this.
Okay.
And did you know that there is... So, a Pedro Pascal movie just came out right now.
Yep.
There's one coming out in a month, and literally the week after a Pedro Pascal movie comes out, Fantastic Four comes out. Pedro Pascal's in 3 movies in 1 month.
I love him.
Yeah.
Right? I love him, but I love him the way that I love coffee.
Calm
and
down.
even I need a break from coffee every once in a while. You know?
He was in a movie last month, too.
Hey, whatever.
Well.
The dude's just, you know what he's doing? He's doing a much more lucrative version of a Nick Cage move.
Yeah.
You know?
Kinda.
He's just
That's
like,
true,
yeah,
actually.
yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
I would like to see somebody maybe, like, I would love to see some DC casting of people that I'm like, oh, shit, I've seen this person in one thing and I like them. You know what I mean?
Pedro Pascal, a.k.a. lucrative Nick Cage. All right. Here's something that I did just realize that we have the potential for that I don't think I've heard anybody mention yet. There is a comic book series. I forget the exact series of it, but they're relatively Lobo centric, right? And we've got Jason Momoa coming in as Lobo for this universe. Yes, there is a series of Lobo comics where there's a little bit of kind of that heated I hate you but could possibly love you, will they, won't they, between Lobo and Wonder Woman. And I would kind of love that. Now that we're talking Ana de Armas and Jason Momoa, I would absolutely love not them I'm not shipping them in the DCU, but I'm saying I would love the will they, won't they moment of I fucking hate you and we're diametrically opposed based on the relatively black and white setup of this world's or this universe's justice system, but maybe, you know, because also they're both pretty good looking people. And I feel like that would happen in real life too. They'd be like, hey, we couldn't, but maybe.
But maybe. Because that's a good, you mentioned Lobo, Supergirl, Millie Alcock, she was known, but she wasn't everywhere. You know what I mean? And she's a perfect cast for that. So I'm really excited. We'll see what happens with Wonder Woman.
It's going to be good.
But in the meantime, if you saw Thor, Love and Thunder.
I did.
Did you?
I did.
I haven't seen it yet.
I did.
How was it? You loved it?
No, honestly, okay. The Thor movies have been, right, let's go through it, right? 1 was totally fine. It set up the universe. Cool.
Totally
great.
fine.
2, bad. 3, good. 4, bad.
Okay,
5,
so we're
is there a 5th one? Is that where we're going with this?
There's supposed to be, but that's not the news.
Oh.
Do you remember in Thor: Love and Thunder, because we both definitely saw that movie, and I
saw
remember
it,
everything
for sure.
that happened.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely did.
It was wild.
There is apparently now Hercules movie with Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso is apparently now in the works.
Oh, because he's Hercules at the end of that movie. Okay,
Hercules.
Here's this is not a hot take. This is just me wanting something that nobody else wants. I want that movie to have so much Russell Crowe doing a horrible Italian accent in it. That's what I want the most. Is just Russell Crowe Zeus being absolutely obnoxiously Italian the entire fucking time. I will. That alone would be my money's worth to just giggle at that, because he was obnoxiously. He wasn't obnoxiously Greek. Which Zeus is. He's part of the Greek pantheon. He was obnoxiously Mediterranean Southern Italian. Like it was like they were like, Russell Crowe, we heard that you're doing some method acting to play Zeus. Where are you going? He's like, I'm going to Olive Garden. We're all family there. Like that's what it felt like. He studied for his role in an Olive Garden kitchen. And like that's it.
I've seen clips of him, and boy howdy. It sure does.
I don't know if that was his choice or if that was Taika Waititi like waving on to set like some weird Gumby man and telling him to be sillier. Like, I don't know what that was, but it definitely was funny. Like, and in a way where I understand that people didn't like it, but I thought it was good. Like, I didn't think it was good. I thought it was funny.
I think that movie is funny in the ways that it's not trying to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
like, I think it's one of those. But my thing with the Hercules in the MCU, right? And we talk about the MCU a lot. Yeah. Not a lot, but we definitely talk about it. And we talk about the fatigue of it and the direction of it. And my thing is like, would I love to see Brett Goldstein as Hercules? Absolutely. I love him in Ted Lasso. He's actually hilarious,
funny.
Dude.
Yep.
But a solo movie, I don't think every character needs a solo movie. I think, for one, it's a shame that Thunderbolts didn't make its money back, because it's actually a good movie.
Okay.
That
I wouldn't know yet.
Probably deserve that.
I wouldn't know yet.
But two, that also means that all these side characters, you know, if this news is true about Hercules, it's interesting to me because Thunderbolts was a bunch of side characters that they teamed up and the movie didn't do well.
Yeah.
So now they're going to go back to a lesser-known hero in a movie that nobody liked and nobody remembered?
I think they're trying to find the right combination of popular actor and side character that can be put into like a newer Avengers. Like, it doesn't matter. And this is okay. And this is something that I think we don't talk about enough when we're looking at the scope of the MCU, right? So like this TV and film entertainment universe that exists, is the comic books still vastly outnumber everything.
Oh my God, yeah.
And there's a lot of bad ones. And there's a lot of ones that are just whatever. And like, comic book culture is very different from TV and film in that, like, you read them in 15 minutes to 40 minutes usually, and like, you're taking your time and you're appreciating the art, and like, all of the dialogue doesn't have to be everything that we expect it to be. Like, a lot of times you just, like, when you see an appreciation post for an entire comic, you're getting like the 4 panels that made the comic worth it, right? They also cost less than a movie, so like, you don't have as much buyer's remorse. But like, Hercules, he's had comics, so of course we can do a Hercules movie. You can take any of these characters and do anything with them because they've had moments in the fucking comics, right? And I think what the MCU is doing is they're going, okay, well, let's reach into the comics and let's find these popular actors who have played these characters, and let's see who we can assemble for whatever group we can get together that's the right combination where we can make $1 billion, right? And that's what it feels like, at least to me, right? Does that seem right?
Oh yeah, I don't disagree. I think Marvel was really trying to find what works because they haven't been on a hot streak lately, and you know, I've seen a lot of reports that are like, July with Superman and Fantastic Four are really going to determine like the future of superhero movies, which is such a huge thing. Like, it's not going to determine the future of it because, let's be honest, they're still going to get made. Yeah, like we're still going to get them, and I'll be shocked.
Well, it's going to
if
determine
Superman,
how many we get, right?
That's but see, the thing is like, I already want less. Like, I already want it to be scaled back.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If anything, actually, what the funny thing is like, for a while I wanted more Marvel and less DC. Now I'm like, more DC, less Marvel.
Well, because James Gunn's doing a good job, and we've talked about this before. He said if you have a good script, it'll get greenlit, right? It wasn't about who it was or where
and
they can capitalize.
Connects.
Yeah, it wasn't about that. Do you have a good story? Can we execute this? Do you have a good pitch for me? Right? Yeah. So he's really approaching it from, I think, the best perspective, where he's like, it's not about The money will come because you can get the actors, you can have the characters. Do you have a good story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, like, even if DC was setting it up like they did in the beginning of Marvel, where the first 5 movies are connected slightly and they come together for a team up, that would be okay too. But I do love that James Gunn is, like, I've said this before, and I will keep saying, like, Superman is the one movie this year that I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
I am so ready for a good Superman movie. We have, in my opinion, and this is a very hot take, there's like maybe one good live action Superman movie, maybe, and it's definitely not from Zack Snyder.
No. Oh God, no.
Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, maybe,
that's
but
a good one, yeah.
but Superman 1, I like for the time, but like 3, 4 Returns, and I'm sorry if you're a Snyder fan, Man of Steel is not a good Superman story. It's a fine superhero movie if you replace Superman with anybody else, but it's not a Superman story.
Superman has never been like my favorite. Like, even as a kid, I remember being
not
like,
my
yeah,
favorite.
he can do
Yeah.
whatever, cool, yeah, he's super powerful. But like, I found myself finding like interest in some of the weirder villains that came along for Superman. Like some of these villains who are just like, yeah, my
Brainiac?
planet was destroyed because your race did whatever, and you, man, so I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna eradicate you because you're actually a danger to the universe. I'm like, oh, this guy's talking logic right now. Like, I like this
Dude,
guy.
you know okay, so I'm curious. Who's your favorite DC superhero if you had to pick one? Because I know mine.
DC?
Yeah.
Tell me yours, because it's going to take me a second to pick one.
So I think my favorite for DC has always been, and this is because of the Justice League animated series, it is either Green Lantern or Martian Manhunter. And I'm very excited for the Lanterns TV show. So
superhero. You know what? I'm gonna give
Or
you
villain.
I'm gonna give you my favorite DC superhero by the end of this podcast.
Okay.
I'll take some time.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Well, then while you do that, allow me to take you on a journey to Christmas time. But what if Christmas was scary?
I want to go.
And that's
on
what
this
we might be getting with
Well,
Robert Eggers' A Christmas Carol.
Okay. Yes, we already have gotten Scary Christmas Carol, and it's got Sean Penn in it. It's really good, and it is a Christmas Carol. It's FX did it. It's got Stephen Graham, Sean Penn, a bunch of just really great actors are in this movie. And it starts out with Jacob Marley, who is Scrooge's main like business partner in life. He's in hell. Like, first, the movie, this version of A Christmas Carol opens up. I think it might even just be called Scrooge. But, like, it opens up with Jacob Marley being pissed on in his grave. Like, some orphan comes along and literally pisses on his grave, and he's in his casket dead and wakes up to pee coming onto his face as he then gets dragged into hell. And there's like basically in hell he's told, hey, if you can't get Scrooge to repent, both of you are going to be here forever because you're business partners. And I was like, oh, this is an interesting premise. But yeah, so the movie ends up being like, it's really, really good. I highly recommend watching that one first. So like, we have gotten a scary version. A Christmas Carol is actually meant to be a little scary. The Jim Carrey one does have a couple scary moments too, because we got that one. Remember, it was
that
mostly
weird
CG.
animated looking one.
Yeah, it was like CG. But so it's meant to be a little bit scary. Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol to impart the lesson to not be a greedy fuck. Like, so it should be a little scary. It should be scaring rich people into wanting to give me specifically gifts. But I like that Robert Eggers has been tapped for this.
Now, I agree. And here's my thing. And I said this to you off air.
Yeah.
My problem is, and I guess I'm a Scrooge in a lot of ways because I don't fucking care about Christmas. I don't like Christmas movies. I don't care about the holiday. And it's not because of anything around it. I just don't care about it. Like,
but Christmas is what you make it, Odie.
Shut up. Shut up. Go to your corner, Christmas. Like, I'm not a... But let me also say this. No, shut up.
Okay.
Shut up, Christmas.
Okay.
The adults are talking. Christmas.
Okay.
Shut up. But I also am just not a holiday fan. Like, I don't celebrate a lot of holidays.
Yeah.
I'm a Scrooge for all holidays.
You're a Jehovah's Witness. I got it.
But
that's what Jehovah's Witnesses do. They don't like holidays.
Yeah, I know. They don't celebrate birthdays
You and
either.
Jehovah's Witnesses hanging out on the holidays.
You know what? I guess in that way, because I don't celebrate holidays and I don't celebrate birthdays, I am.
Smash cut to Odie in Kingdom Hall having the worst
God,
time.
no.
I
out of all, like, I love Robert Eggers. Obviously, we've talked. I will glaze that man up and down until I die. Like, he is a fantastic director.
Yeah.
I don't care about this story. However, Willem Dafoe is apparently the lead.
Yes.
And that's with
great.
Robert Eggers is enough for me to go see it. Is this something that I want? Not really.
Yeah.
Is it something I will go see? Absolutely.
I only want this if Willem Dafoe brings the same energy to this role that he brought to Albin
Nosferatu.
Ebenhart von Franz. Yes, the character from fucking Nosferatu.
Dude.
That energy. Specifically, I want
movie.
every scene to be dialed up as far as Willem Dafoe dancing in front of a burning church as Albin Ebenhart von Franz. Like, that's if
Love
he's
that.
bringing that energy to this role, yes. Also, he's like the perfect age and like look
he's
to play
perfect.
Scrooge
He's
right
perfect.
now. Yeah.
I fucking love Willem Dafoe.
And you know that Eggers is going to go to some of his favorites and tap them
Of
for
course.
roles. And and there's a lot of really good room here to play the Ghost of Christmas Past, the Ghost of Christmas Present, the Ghost of Christmas Future, Scrooge's nephew. There's so many good roles available in this film, and I can't wait to see. And especially, I mean, can we talk for a second? If
Let's
Robert Eggers takes the same cinematographic approach to this that he did to Nosferatu, we're just going to leave going, what a spectacle. What a great time that was.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
okay.
I could see him getting Lily Rose Depp in on this. I think Nicholas Hoult would be a good one to get in on this.
Nicholas Hoult as Scrooge's nephew would be sick.
That's what I was
would
just
love
literally
that.
thinking.
Yep.
Okay. Well, cool. Then I guess we'll see what happens when and if that actually
I think it's
comes
going to be
together.
good. I think it's going to be good. And if I'm eating crow later, may it be a Christmas crow.
Okay.
Because Christmas
Well,
is
let me,
what you make it.
Well, how about this? Did you ever watch True Detective, the first season, the only good season of that show?
I've watched every season of True Detective.
Okay. I've only
regardless
watched
of
the
how
first
good or
season.
bad it was.
How are the other seasons? I've only ever seen the first.
Season 1, amazing. Season 2 completely falls on its face, even though there's some phenomenal performances and scenes in
There's some
that.
good casting
and
in
it
that.
actually is really like the plot's good. There's some really great scenes in it, but all in all, like the total package of it kind of falls apart. Season 3, back to great.
Oh.
And then Night Country was actually phenomenal. Night Country
Didn't
was
that tie
like,
back into the first season?
Night Country not only tied back into the first season, but, well, it didn't tie back. Okay, it didn't tie back in the first season. True Detective is a hard-boiled detective Lovecraftian tale. It's a Lovecraft story, and it mentions the King in Yellow. And some of the symbols from the first season come back in the fourth season because it's fucking Lovecraft. These are deep, like, slumbering gods of the Lovecraftian universe that are at play here, you know? So, like, yeah, a lot of that's going to come back and be symbolic and be cyclical, and the whole time being a flat circle is like, so, like, they brought a lot of stuff back in really well, but the writing and the acting and the execution of Night Country was so good.
So then you're going to like this. I have two pieces of news about True Detective.
Hit
First
me.
one, apparently in the works that maybe Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson might return as those characters for another season because the creator, Nick Pizzolatto, I probably
Pizzolatto.
butchered that. Thank you. Might have a story for them. But what he definitely does have a story is for Matthew McConaughey based on the 1947 Private Eye character called Mike Hammer.
I have no idea
Now,
who Mike Hammer is.
I had to look this up, and I still don't really know fully what it's like, what Mike Hammer is all about. But basically, he's an old school detective. So
He's
it's the
gonna
guy
hammer
that
you.
did True Detective with one of the actors from the best season doing another detective movie show based on books.
He's
So,
gonna hammer you. That's Mike Hammer. He does. Does he have a catchphrase? Does he say like, "It's time to
hammer
drop
time."
the hammer"?
That's where Hammer Guy got it from.
That's where Hammer Guy, MC Hammer. You
no,
call
no,
him
that guy
Hammer
from Mario.
Guy?
No, the guy from Mario that throws the
that
hammers.
guy?
Yeah, that's where he got it from.
The Hammer Goomba or whatever.
Yeah.
The Hammer Koopa.
He's based off of Mike Hammer.
Oh my God.
No, I like Matthew McConaughey quite a bit.
Yeah.
I like that first season of True Detective. I love detective stories. I love a good mystery, murder, crime, thriller.
Yeah.
I love them if they're comedic, like Knives Out. I love them if they're more serious, like True Detective.
Yeah.
So this, to me, I'm here for it.
Cool.
Are you here for it?
Yeah, I'm interested. That's one of those things I'll check out, and like, if it's not great by the end of the first episode, I'll be like, all right, cool, see ya.
Yeah. Well,
It's
My
gotta
Camera,
be
I think
great.
it's
I have an
might be a
expectation.
TV show.
I have an expectation. Well, that's what I mean. If it's not great by the end of the first episode, I'll be like,
Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's going to be a movie, not a TV show. My
if
bad.
it's not great in the first 20 minutes, I'll be like, well, it's a different bar. If I'm watching a movie and I don't feel like I want to commit to this movie, and there are people who are like, oh my God, at 2 hours, it really picks up. And I'm like, that's fucking 2 hours.
That's too long in a
baby.
movie for it to pick
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, no, I'm not into that.
You fucked
I'm not
up.
committing. Yeah, no. So ultimately, like, I think I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with True Detective. That's some cool news. And then, yeah, My Camera, cool. Let's check it out.
Yeah,
Let's see what it's
we'll
all
see.
about. If it's like a mystery of the week thing, that might be cool because then it's
I would
different
like
every
that.
episode, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm thinking like mystery of the week thing in a Nick Pizzolatto and Matthew McConaughey way vis-a-vis the old school Sherlock with Benjamin Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Or
I
Benjamin
can see that.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, yeah.
Benjamin Cumberbatch.
Benjamin Cumberbatch.
And yeah, like I would like to see that where like the pacing is very similar and you're
Yeah.
unraveling a mystery and then like maybe at the end of episode 2 or 3 it's revealed that there's a bigger thing going on here.
Like a connecting through line.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Those are the good ones.
Yeah.
Listen, that is all the news we have. So
That's it.
wave goodbye to the news capsule.
Goodbye.
As it goes away.
Goodbye,
And
news capsule.
wow,
Let's bury you
you
in the ground
do-
again.
do you see that in the distance?
What is it?
It looks like a giant gorilla of some kind.
You're
I don't
doing
know
a
where I'm
deep
going with
dive.
this.
Yeah.
Help me out here, Kevin.
Odie. Let's
Odie.
get
Me?
deep.
Let's get deep.
Let's
Ugh.
get deep.
Let's get deep.
Yeah, let's get real deep.
Let's get
Let's
deep.
get the deepest we can get. Let's get real
Like the Meg,
deep.
which is what we're talking about today. No, I'm just kidding. King
No.
Kong.
Let's get deep, dive into that ocean, hoping you're gonna catch this notion I'm throwing. Whatever way the winds be blowing, stay open, let's get deep. A vessel full of information, a maverick of hyperfixation. Bombard you with my observations, orations, let's get.
Listen,
Please
King
no.
Kong. I am a big fan. I came to you and I said, hey, I want to do a deep dive because we haven't done one in a while.
Yeah.
I gave you some options.
Yep.
And
I picked King Kong.
And I'm glad you did because I want to. Before I even jump into my report about the history of King Kong, for those of you that don't know, King Kong started all the way back in 1933.
Yep.
And we're gonna get into all of it, but tons of different appearances. From the original studio that owned it all the way to Toho incarnations to what we have now with Legendary in the Monster Universe with Godzilla.
Yep.
It's got a rich history and a huge influence across even somewhat of the kaiju area, which I might refer to him as a kaiju. To be fair, I will say he's only really referred to as a kaiju in the Toho incarnations and in the new Legendary. He did not start as a kaiju. He just started as a giant gorilla or ape-like monster. But King Kong was one of the first real horror monster movies I got to see. I've been in love with it since I was a kid.
Yep.
I've owned the 1933 one since I was a kid. It's a fucking awesome movie. It's one of my favorite stories. Although when I rewatched it this time, there are some things that haven't aged very well.
Oh, like
I'm not talking
what?
about effects.
Like
It's pretty sexist.
Oh,
but
really?
We're gonna get into that, and there's reasons for it. I'm not gonna defend the sexism, but there is some reasons. Some of the sexism is set up because it actually has a point. Some of it is just pure sexism.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
1933, baby.
Yep. Let's do it.
So if I may, Kevin, can I give you a little setting of what King Kong is for any of those that don't know? I'd like to just I did the justice after watching a couple different King Kong movies of just summarizing the plot of King Kong, because obviously it's nothing new here. If you don't know the story of King Kong, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. What are you doing? All right.
So-
hit me with a story, King Kong.
In the original film, the character of Kong is a name given to him by the inhabitants of the fictional Skull Island that is located in the Indian Ocean where Kong lives. He lives on Skull Island with other oversized animals and various dinosaurs that he gets into scuffles with and are also his food source. An American film crew, though, led by one Carl Denham, gets a crew together on a boat to go to the mysterious Skull Island after learning of its existence and learning of a mysterious beast with a mighty roar. And he ends up going to the island, and after a series of events, he captures Kong and returns him to New York City to display him as an exhibit titled The Eighth Wonder of the World. Now, of course, everybody knows the story from there. King Kong escapes, he climbs the Empire State Building, he fights some biplanes, and in the end, it wasn't the aeroplanes, it was beauty killed the beast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's what did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's the
if I
story,
may,
man. Everybody knows the story of King Kong.
that's the story, and it's a
We all
beautiful
know it.
story.
Yeah, there's the iconic image of him climbing the Empire State Building, right? That freaked people the fuck out. They were like,
Yeah.
what if a giant monkey giant gorilla climbed the fucking Empire State Building? People are like, whoa, no way. And then it was even used in like propaganda and shit, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right.
So, and we're gonna actually get into
Probably
some
why that
propaganda.
didn't age well. It's probably-
No. I'm glad you mentioned the propaganda because I have a little note about this.
Yeah,
I'm
hit
just gonna
me.
say this here because I think it fits. King Kong came out in 1933. It ended up having a re-release in 1952, but in Nazi Germany, because around 33 Hitler was on the rise to power.
Yep.
It was banned in Nazi Germany, but
Oh, damn.
Hitler liked the movie, so he allowed it to screen. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
That's my little,
Yeah, that's
that's
probably.
my little morbid fact about King
yeah,
Kong.
that's
Tying
probably
it to Hitler.
probably why that didn't age well. All right, keep going.
Okay, so in order to set up properly the 1933 King Kong, because we're going to kind of go through the history and the origins of the original incarnation, and then we're going to kind of go through some history of it and like legacy and stuff. But in order to set it up properly, we have to go back to the golden age of Hollywood cinema, which started in 1927
Yep.
with the release of The Jazz Singer. And this,
Okay.
by many accounts, when I was doing my research, is the first like real Hollywood production. Now, granted, talkies had already been kind of on the rise throughout the 20s, and it was as far back as the early 1900s, like 1907, I think, is like when movies like first started to exist.
Yeah.
So what I'm painting here is that in 1933, not only were movies not huge and amazing and like these wonderful, spectacular things we have now, something like King Kong, which involved a lot of new groundbreaking special effects, which we're going to talk about,
Yeah.
was something that nobody had ever really seen before. This was a movie that was truly unlike any other.
Okay.
So, speaking of the groundbreaking special effects, so King Kong used things, stop motion animation, which there are in some museums. You can actually see some of the original like stop motion props that they used for like the miniatures of the dinosaurs and things like that.
Yeah.
So stop motion, it was a huge groundbreaking one for that, but it also started to utilize a lot of matte paintings that also, implemented rear projection onto those as well as miniatures. So
Okay.
where we know as like green screen now, we're all like hand painted matte paintings that then stop motion, rear projection, and miniatures would be used in conjunction with.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's part of the reason I love King Kong so much is it's
The
funny
legacy?
because the 1933 was groundbreaking for special effects, but Kevin, the
Hit me.
2005 version that was done by Peter Jackson,
Yeah.
also groundbreaking with special effects. So King Kong has really had in both of the major like iterations of it, they were both significant in the special effects, in how they kind of like introduced some new things to Hollywood like that.
Okay.
So
Cool.
pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk King Kong origin. Sorry, I dropped my phone. So the King Kong character was conceived and created by the American filmmaker named Marion C. Cooper, who I'm just going to call Cooper throughout
Yep.
this entire report. So he became fascinated with gorillas at the age of 6. and it was in 1899 that he was given a book from his uncle called The Explorations and Adventures in Equilateral Africa. And the book basically just chronicled the adventures of a gentleman named, apologies for the pronunciation on this, Paul de Chalu. He was an African adventurer, and he had a bunch of different encounters with African natives as well as different gorillas and primates and things like that.
Okay.
So in his book kind of chronicled that, which is what inspired Cooper to kind of, go in this direction, because he became fascinated with the stories, especially and specifically one about a larger gorilla who was nicknamed King of the African Forest.
Hell yeah.
So that's kind of where, Kong was always the name that Cooper kind of wanted to use. He loved the K sound. In etymology, he was always a big fan of like Komodo dragons and Kong and things like that. So King came from, this story in this book. Kong, he always knew was going to be a gorilla. Put those two together. King Kong, baby.
That's right.
So, how do you think so far?
I mean, I'm just learning a lot right now. I didn't know. I told you I don't know crap about King Kong. Cause okay, so I watched the original as a kid in black and white, and it was really cool. Cause I was probably it was probably like 1989, 1990 when I saw it, right? And like I had never seen a movie with like giant things like that. Maybe like the only thing I had really for scale of reference was the giant squid from 1,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Oh,
and
I love that.
Yeah, so then watching King Kong for the first time, I was like, whoa, this is really cool. Like, and because it's black and white and you're a kid, you're able to suspend your disbelief even more. So like a lot of the fight scenes that are happening, and like Kong actually kind of protects these people, and then they enslave him and bring him back, and you feel bad for Kong. But then Kong like gets out, and you're like, oh yeah, no, he's actually gonna like really hurt some people if they don't stop him. And then there's this big fight, at the end. And then, the classic line, I guess Beauty did kill the beast, whatever. But like watching that as a kid, I remember being like, wow, that was really cool. And like, you keep that image of King Kong in your head. And so like as a kid, Jurassic Park's coming out and stuff like that. And you're like, well, who would win in a fight? The T-Rex from Jurassic Park, King Kong, like with your friends, you're just kind of going over that stuff. And for me, I always enjoyed King Kong. And then the new movies started coming out, right? So there was the Peter Jackson one. And I liked that. It was good. Yeah. And then there were like the newer ones that I know you really love those. I'm not as crazy about kaiju movies as I used to be. I think it's something that's kind of like, oh yeah, it's fun, and if other people are enjoying it, I'll enjoy it. So for me, like listening to this, I'm just kind of like learning about the cinema history of King Kong, which I think is interesting in itself.
And that's why I wanted to start it. And we are going to talk about the new ones. And I will say I love them. I love them because they're such a fun roller coaster. If anything, they're more like the tower drop ride. Yeah. I'm still very disappointed that we didn't get we've only gotten 2 actual stories of the true King Kong. I really wish that the Monster Universe would have done a true blue King Kong story where adventurers go to this island, there's natives and so forth. But whatever, we got Kong Skull Island, which is, we'll get to it. So back to Cooper. He ended up getting involved with the film industry as an adult. And while he was filming a movie called The Four Feathers in Africa, he came into contact with a family of baboons. And this interaction with a family of baboons inspired him when he went back to just say, fuck it, I'm making a movie about a killer gorilla.
Hell yeah.
Originally, that's kind of what it was going to be. It was going to be mostly just about a killer gorilla. But he said that he had the original idea for King Kong fighting the warplanes on top of the Empire State Building after he saw a plane fly over the New York Insurance Building, which at the time was the tallest building in the world.
Hell yeah.
So I like Cooper's approach to this because it kind of reminds me of how I approach some of my writing. And obviously I'm not comparing myself to a legendary filmmaker like Marion C. Cooper who created King Kong, but I like that he was like, I saw this one idea and I based my whole story around getting King Kong to do this thing.
Yeah.
And like he kind of like worked backwards, and sometimes when I'm like writing magnum opus scripts, like it'll start with a joke and then I'll just like write backwards. Like Lord of the Rings. I did a clickbait fun little video about the animated Lord of the Rings, but I pretended like it was the real Lord of the Rings, and like that's where the idea came from, right? So I like that he kind of like he worked off this one vision in his head of King Kong and kind of worked backwards. But he actually had this to say. He said, "Without any conscious effort of thought, I immediately saw in my mind's eye a giant gorilla on top of the building fighting airplanes." And that's just fucking cool.
Yeah,
because who doesn't want to see that? Now, some of Cooper's influence was from the Douglas Burden's accounts of the Komodo dragon, as I mentioned earlier, the K sounds. The Komodo dragon is what actually ended up giving Cooper the idea of King Kong fighting a dinosaur, which would actually eventually lead, and it's thanks to this one inclusion in 1933 King Kong of him fighting the dinosaur, which has one of my favorite shots where he's like messing with the jaw after he's broken it.
Yeah.
That is only because of this like Komodo dragon inspiration, and because of that one scene where he fights in 1933 is the only reason we got King Kong versus Godzilla. So without that, there would never have been a crossover. Well, I don't want to say never, but unlikely. There hadn't been dinosaurs, because obviously Godzilla is essentially a dinosaur. She an angry dinosaur, but she a dinosaur. So when designing King Kong, Cooper wanted him to be more of a nightmarish monster. He described King Kong in a 1930 memo saying, "His hands and feet have the size and strength of steam shovels. His girth is that of a steam boiler. This is a monster with the strength of 100 men, but more terrifying is the head. A nightmare head with bloodshot eyes and jagged teeth set under a thick mat of hair, a face half beast, half human." Really like steam power. Steam shovel, steam boiler, 100 men. And we are going to talk about the scaling of King Kong here in just a moment, because there is a lot of different scaling. And actually, if you've ever watched a King Kong movie and you're like, in this shot, King Kong looks smaller than he did in the last shot. Or in this shot, King Kong looks really big. There's a reason for that. Now, King Kong is mostly seen as a gorilla. He has been known to walk on 2 feet upright. But in P. Jackson's version, Kong is based actually off of a silverback gorilla and more of the silverback gorilla's behavior. So in the 2005, he walks on all 4s like a gorilla more than he does in other incarnations.
Okay.
And part of that is because our good friend Andy Serkis did some of the mocap for King Kong. And obviously he did mocap for Gollum and so forth. So as I was mentioning just a second ago about the size, here's some sizing for you of Kong's like scaling over the years.
Yeah,
so
hit me.
In the original 1933, on Skull Island, Kong is about 18 feet compared to human.
Okay.
And in New York, he scaled up to 24 feet to make him look a little bit bigger around the busy New York City, concrete jungle where his dreams are made of.
Yep.
So after that, in 1962, one of the Toho movies, which we will get to, it doesn't have a specific size, but basically King Kong eats a magic berry and he gets really big.
Wait,
because
what?
Yeah.
So it's a magic berry.
Yeah, he can,
not radioactive.
He consumes like a berry kind of. Yeah, like, and he gets really big. Yeah, because it's Toho, it's Godzilla. I mean, that's the one that had Godzilla do like the sideways rocket kick.
Interesting.
In the 1976 movie, he's about 100 feet, but that's like kind of debated. But he's supposed to be roughly around 100 feet. Yeah. In the 2005 Peter Jackson, he's about 25 feet. And in the most recent Godzilla versus King Kong in the Monsterverse, he is close to 400 feet. So he has really been scaled up in ways that he has never been scaled up before in the newer movies.
Interesting.
Yeah, and if you really want to get an idea for his size, anybody listening, just Google King Kong size chart, and there's a couple images on Google that'll show you all the different incarnations and like their different sizes compared to humans.
Hell yeah.
And obviously, the new one is going to be the biggest because he has to fight Godzilla. Personally, I kind of like when he's not that big. I kind of like him around the 30 feet tall. Like, that's a little bit scarier, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, he's had a lot of different sizes. He's he's done some cutting, he's done some gaining, he's done some bulking.
Yep.
Dude,
Dude, sometimes is working out more than others. Sometimes he's got to fight
exactly.
a giant lizard. Sometimes he's just warding off a T-Rex, which is a giant lizard of a type, but not the same as Godzilla. Godzilla's got crazy breath, baby. One thing that I've always liked about the Godzilla versus Kong is they're constantly highlighting like the disadvantage Kong is at. They're like, Godzilla's like an armored radioactive lizard with atomic breath, and Kong has fists. He's very much is not he's the underdog of this fight. He's the under ape of this fight, and it's gonna be a tough one for him. The other thing that I like about Kong is and this might just be written into the script because we share, genetics with apes. But like, I think people a lot of times when they're writing Kong do take the position of casting him as a relatively empathic creature who can understand our emotions better. Like Godzilla's just rampant chaos, right? Like, and these really are like the two most popular kaiju in Western cinema, right? But Kong is always like, there's like moments of like love and, like moments of sadness and, all these emotions that we know them to exhibit. Whereas like when you look at a lizard, you're like, that thing doesn't love anything. That's just gonna that thing is like even if it was a giant gecko, like geckos would just be crawling all over everything and just destroying things. They don't know. They just have impulses.
Well, it's kind of like the creatures on Skull Island that are gigantic. They're really just mindless killing machines. I mean,
hell yeah.
You get to see it more in Kong Skull Island in 2017, but there's like spiders with their legs look like bamboo, so they hide in bamboo forests and they snatch people up with their pincers. There's giant crabs, there's weird lizards, there's tree monsters, there's giant ants, there's giant buffalo. Like, they really go all out with all the crazy shit that's on Kong Skull Island in that one.
Hell yeah.
Now, so 1933, right? Back to Cooper and him getting this movie off the ground. 1933 was a year that was heavy with global events. Obviously, the Great Depression was in full swing. Society wasn't feeling super great about that. Fascism was gaining traction. Leaders like Hitler started dominating the world stage and rising to power. And people, they desperately wanted something to escape. And unlike today, we can get on TikTok and doom scroll. Wasn't that easy. You can only read the newspaper so many times a day.
Hell yeah.
So, King Kong, the filming commenced, would you believe, without a complete screenplay.
Yes.
So, Cooper hired a guy named Edgar Wallace, who had already kind of made a little bit of a name for himself in Hollywood with some of his scripts. He asked him to write the script the screenplay in December of 1931.
Okay.
Now, Wallace's script was problematic. It was full of sexual assaults, racism, and some other, even for the time, things that just really not great. Unfortunately, some of his elements still kind of made it in. There's still, obviously, like we mentioned at the top, some sexism. There is some, the sexual assault was toned down, but there is still the moment where Kong is trying to take off Anne's clothes. There's also the way that Anne is treated by the men in the ship.
Yes.
There is some casual racism with the way that the tribe is depicted. There is kind of a scene where they're doing this like ritual dance, and it came out that there might have been some, like kind of whitewashed it a little bit. So, again, it is a period of its time, but that does not excuse it. These are things that were fixed in the 2005 one, which, I appreciate. But here's the thing. Wallace actually died after his rough draft was ready in January of 1932. So he literally died a month later after writing the script.
God damn.
So the script was reworked, and it was filmed. And then the campaign for the movie included a ton of stuff. It had newspaper ads, it had radio ads, it had posters, people were talking about it, there was campaign trails. They were trying to get the hype, right? It premiered at the Radio City Music Hall in March of 1933.
Wow.
The film was actually, contrary to some belief, it was a pretty big hit right off the rip. Now, this movie in 1933 cost about $650,000,
which
right?
is like $1 billion
It's
now.
fucking expensive. It is so expensive. But it was pretty good. Like the opening weekend, it did about 90,000. And back then, you know, it wasn't like there was a new movie coming out to compete with it. However, Dwight D. Eisenhower did announce a bank holiday. So throughout that 4-day weekend that they had, the numbers kind of dwindled. The following weekend, it didn't do as well. The next weekend, it didn't do as well. But again, it was one of those movies. It stayed in theaters through rentals and, you know, kind of like rescreenings, and it's re-released in 1952. As of today, King Kong 1933 has grossed a total of $10 million 1933 money.
Okay.
So
All
it
right.
made its money back. It is, you know, 10 times its profit, which these days, you know, wouldn't really mean shit, because if you spent $5 million on a movie and you made $50 million, people would call it a flop, you know?
That's true.
So, which I think is great, because, you know, there was a little bit of like miscommunication or misinformation about King Kong being a flop. You could call it that because it didn't make all of its money back right away, but it's not a flop.
Okay.
Now, since the film has released, it's got some pretty significant honors. King Kong, like I said, big staple in history. In 1975, Kong was named one of the 50 best American films by the American Film Institute. So,
Wow.
you know, 40 years later, it's still keeping strong. Not long after that, in 1981, the video game that you might have heard of called Donkey Kong
Hell yeah.
came out, which was loosely based on King Kong. So
We love
Donkey Kong,
that.
King Kong.
Yep.
In 1991, the film was deemed culturally and historically and aesthetically significant by the Library of Congress and selected for preservation by the United States National Film Registry.
Okay.
So this movie, it has some impact, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not done, because in 1998, the AFI, the American Film Institute, ranked the film number 43 on the list of 100 greatest movies of all time. And on top of that, Rotten Tomatoes has ranked it one of the best horror movies of all time,
Okay.
which I don't fully agree with, but hey, I'll take it.
I also don't fully agree with that, but okay.
But we'll take it.
Yeah, we
Now,
will.
You might be asking yourself, Kevin, man, with all of that success and Cooper's dedication and the Son of Kong movie releasing not long after the original, which we're not going to really talk about. Son of Kong is basically Carl Denham, the star, like the movie guy from the first one.
Yep.
He takes all the blame for Kong's rampage. He gets sued. He finds Son of Kong, and it's not my favorite. I've seen it a couple times. Not my favorite.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I didn't even know that existed. I didn't
Yeah,
even know we
not a lot
could
of people
do a
do.
Son of Kong.
If I did a Son of Kong deep dive, it'd be like 5 minutes long.
Gross.
But in 1976, there was an attempt at a remake. And let me tell you, I personally think that the 1976 remake of King Kong is the godfather of fucking up the original. This is the movie that, like, this is the first remake, in my opinion, that I've seen and I know about that truly fucking misses the point.
Who's
Let me tell you how.
in this?
Jeff Bridges.
Okay.
And he's not
famously a good actor and was in like Kingfisher and a lot of other classic films. So what went wrong here, buddy?
Yeah. So it was I'm gonna probably mess up this guy's name too. But it was British filmmaker John Guillermin. I'm probably fucking that up. It had yes, Charles Gordon and Jessica Lange were in it as well.
Okay.
And here's the thing. The story of King Kong, as I mentioned at the start, right? It's to give you kind of like a little bit more of an overview. It's a film director named Carl Denham, and he wants to make an incredible movie, and he's looking for his star. He's looking for a woman to be his star. And in the original 1933, the ship that he's on is carrying tons of gas grenades and ammunitions, and the crew is 3 times bigger than a ship of that size's needs. They got a really famous movie star of the time here. They got the captain. You got Jack Prescott, who's the love interest. He's there. Everybody's there. But then they're like, hey, the government's coming to shut us down because we have all these munitions and they're illegal and you can't have them. So we got to leave ASAP. So Carl Denham goes out into New York City and runs into Anne as she's trying to steal an apple because she's down on her luck. He thinks she's pretty. He talks to her. He's like, hey, I have a job for you. She gets on the boat. She becomes a movie star. They go to Skull Island. They go to Skull Island because, that's where the adventure is, right?
Yeah.
So
that's where we start the big part of the story. Yeah.
Right. So the story is pretty set.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you how the 1976 changes all of this in all the fucking worst ways. Now, keep in mind, and I want to make this point one more time. The point of going to Skull Island for Carl Denham was because he heard there was a creature unlike anything else and a giant wall keeping it in, and his spirit of adventure and his love of movie making and trying to make a big hit is what took him there, right?
Would have been cooler if it was just because they had like a really good sandwich stand, you know? Like,
Well,
that
you
would
know
be
what?
dope.
That's what the 76 one is about. It's all about
hell yeah.
sandwiches.
Yeah.
Kong makes the best sandwiches.
No, not Kong. Just some dude. Just some random dude.
No, it's Kong. They're dinosaur sandwiches.
It is? Okay, great.
Yeah.
I love that.
No.
Dinosaur sandwiches.
So
I would eat that.
I want to talk about the points that are altered in this.
What kind of dinosaur?
The crew. You want it burnt? I mean, dark or light?
All right, keep going. I'm sorry. I'm too real.
Okay, so Carl Denham
Yeah.
in the 1976 wants to go to Skull Island because he thinks there's oil there.
Oh, okay. Not sandwiches.
So that's cool, right? Like, that just pisses me off. Like, that's so American, it's fucking stupid.
I mean, whatever. That is motivation, I guess, right? He's like, we got oil on that island. Like,
I
that would
guess.
bring Americans there. So, yeah.
Yeah,
all right,
but
makes sense.
That's not as compelling to me.
No, it's not.
Anne's
boring.
Anne's name in this one is changed to Dwan. And instead of an actress that he
Dwan?
runs... Yeah. Instead of an actress that he runs into in the city and, they have, like, this thing and she gets on the boat, they actually just find her drifting on some wreckage from another ship, and they just pick her up.
Lame.
Jack Prescott, who, is the love interest in the original, and he's on the boat, and he's part of the crew and everything, who, he's the one that kind of ultimately ends up saving Anne in the end and everything on Skull Island.
Oh, yeah.
He is now a primate paleontologist who just sneaks onto the boat.
Oh,
Warn them about Skull Island because he heard a rumor about a beast.
We went all Crichton on this. Okay, got it.
And so on top of that, though, he sneaks onto the boat, and then they're just like, okay, well, now you can't leave, and you're our prisoner.
Now you can't leave, and you're our paleontologist now. Good news for you. We were gonna throw you overboard, but it turns out you know a lot about monkeys. So.
And stuff.
Yeah.
And then probably my least favorite, because I think it's the most iconic thing from King Kong, instead of climbing the Empire State Building, he climbs the South Tower of the World Trade Centers.
Oh, lame. Not cool.
Like,
not cool.
no,
Empire
just
State
lame.
Building. You got to do the iconic one. Why
that's
would
the
you
thing.
change
It's
that?
like, exactly. So, it's not good. It's not. I tried to watch it for this report. I tried. I really did. I tried 3 times. I couldn't get past the 30-minute mark.
That's a lot for you.
It is. It was. I tried it in 10-minute sections. No.
It's just not good.
It's just not good. I might do it on Magnum Opus
Hell
because
yeah.
I love King Kong, but
Do it. Do
Yeah,
it on Magnum Opus.
I should. I will. 76 one, look, not good. But luckily, they wanted to make an actual, like, true faithful adaptation. So in 2005, after done with his incredible trilogy of Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson's only movie outside of Lord of the Rings in 20 years was the 2005 King Kong.
Hell yeah.
Which, look, I don't have much to say about that one except for it's a little too long, but it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like twice as long as the original, but you know what? At least Peter Jackson, being the great writer he is, kind of fleshed out characters and motivations and gave everybody a personality, where I will say in the 1933, everyone is either like mad that there's a woman there or just kind of there to stare and scream at the camera until Kong kills them. But,
dumb.
dumb. It's for the time, it was fine.
Yeah, the classic close up of the person screaming and the terror on their face. Yeah,
there's a really good moment where Kong, like, there's a when he escapes at the end of Skull Island, he breaks through the wall.
Yeah.
There's one of the tribe people's running, and he like steps on him, and then he like does the like squishy thing with his foot where he like moves it back and forth.
Oh,
It's so stupid, but I love it.
Oh my
and
God.
I will say, Cooper wanted to make sure that King Kong wasn't just a guy in a suit.
I thought
He
you were
wanted
gonna say
to
really
make sure
squished that guy.
Yeah, because he was like, I'm going to kill this guy for real. But, like, he wanted to make sure that, they used props, stop motion, miniatures. He did not want it to be a goofy guy in a suit. And the thing about goofy guys in suits is that's what Toho's good for. And if you will allow me to take you back in time to go over the Toho, I'd like to go through the Toho time of their time with King Kong.
Okay, so we're going back in time.
So yeah,
so we
came
came up to the 70s. Now we're going back again.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to the 60s for a second, because Toho, obviously famous for Godzilla, loves to put people in suits.
All the
And
time.
that's
yeah.
what they did. Now, the Toho King Kong movies are pretty fucking funny. I kind of like them. They have that charm.
Dude,
you know.
all the Toho movies are fun and funny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, there's two. There's only two King Kong Toho movies. There's King
Okay.
Kong versus Godzilla in 1962
Okay.
and King Kong Escapes in 1967.
Okay.
And they were made
What
to
does he
make
escape in 1967?
the island.
Oh, okay.
Now, I mentioned kaiju, right? Now,
Yeah.
this Toho's
Is
incarnation
it really
of him,
escaping? I mean, he's just migrating at that point, you know? Like, like was did someone put him there and say stay? Like,
the door's open.
I don't think
he's
it
like, "You
counts as
escaped."
escaping if you're just leaving the place you were born. I mean, I guess like
You're escaping
I guess
the
based-
shackles of society, Kevin.
based on everything I know about like punk pop standards, like or pop punk standards, yeah, I guess he is escaping. He's like, I'm gonna get out of this town. all right, yeah, all right. So Toho has him escape. It's a man in a suit.
And they wanted to make him more kaiju-like because obviously he's fighting kaiju.
So he's armored.
So, King Kong was suggested to be among the most powerful in terms of raw physical force, possessing strength that could rival Godzilla. But
yeah,
as one of the few mammal-based kaiju, because most of them are lizards or weird aliens with 3 heads.
true.
Kong's most distinctive feature, and this is something that you pointed out earlier, and I'm glad you did, was his intelligence. And that's where Toho tried to use that to make King Kong stand out. He was demonstrated to have the ability to learn and adapt to his opponent's fighting style because, Godzilla has breath that can blow up buildings and cities.
Yeah.
So Kong had to be smarter than that. And
Well, he is.
that is extremely evident in the newer King Kong iteration where he is
literally pulls out a giant textbook and starts researching.
and he
his
puts on his
opponent.
glasses and he goes, hold on,
And he
everybody.
goes, let's go back to the tape.
But like in Kong Skull Island, he literally takes a tree, shaves it with his thing, and uses it as a fucking spear. Like the dude is smart. He uses weapons.
Yeah.
And I like that because Kong should be smarter than Godzilla.
Kong, our
period.
closest relative. Yes, got
Yes.
it.
Exactly. So in King Kong versus Godzilla, this version of Kong was given the ability to harvest electricity as a weapon
Thought
and
you were gonna
draw
say
raw.
make good sandwiches, but here we go. All right.
Well, but yeah, in King Kong versus Godzilla, he was given the ability to like kind of harness electricity.
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
And
He could
in-
harness it
Yeah,
in his
like,
hand.
in Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, and shoot
Somehow
electricity.
Emperor Palpatine return.
Is that what he did?
No,
Oh.
not really.
Okay,
Awesome
all right.
though.
That would be
And
awesome.
in the 1967 King Kong Escapes,
Yeah.
rather than residing on Skull Island, Toho's version of Kong resided on Faro Island in King Kong vs. Godzilla,
Okay.
and a place called Mondo Island in King Kong Escapes.
Okay.
So in King Kong Escapes, I was joking with you, he's actually put on a different island and then he escapes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
yeah, so they changed some things,
Oh, so
but
he's
like with
put
Toho,
on a different island and then he escapes that. Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense. So King Kong
Makes more sense,
escapes
right?
because they're like, stay here, and he's like, fuck
Don't
you,
move.
I'm gonna escape.
and he's like, "Fuck you! I can.
Got it.
I'm smarter than you. and I'm
Got
bigger
it.
than you.
Yeah. He's
Smarter and bigger."
like, not only will I escape, I'm gonna read this book about anyway, I'm
About
just
about
building a
sandwiches.
thing about sandwiches in my head. I'm hungry.
That was my bad.
No,
Oh.
it's not your fault. I'm just hungry.
Mm.
All right.
So, let's
So-
see. Where was I?
Buttons.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Sew buttons.
What's that? So buttons.
Yeah, you sew buttons. That's what you do with them. When people say sew and they pause, I go,
So
buttons.
Toho Studios wanted to remake. Toho wanted to remake King Kong versus Godzilla because here's something that I don't think a lot of people know. That was actually the most successful of the Godzilla films back then. It was
was
huge.
King Kong versus Godzilla.
Fucking massive. So
yeah, because, like, people want to see that fight, man.
yeah, because it's awesome. I mean, who doesn't want to see
Oh, yeah.
that?
A monkey
So
fight a lizard.
in 1991, to celebrate the 30th anniversary of King Kong versus Godzilla,
Okay.
and it was also kind of coinciding with Godzilla's 40th anniversary in total,
Wait, what year?
They wanted to try to make another King Kong versus Godzilla,
'Kay.
but unfortunately they couldn't get the rights.
Okay.
And it ended up just being Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, but they actually wanted to do something where they Mecha Godzilla. They wanted to do something like that for Kong, a Mecha Kong.
Okay.
I'm kind of glad they didn't. Although I wouldn't be surprised if we get that in one of the upcoming movies, because I mean, why not? We got Mecha Godzilla. So it was actually, and funny enough, it's the reason why they didn't go with the Mecha Kong is any creature that resembled Kong would be just as problematic legally for them.
Oh.
And in the end, it was all down to copyright and things like that, which kind of stopped them.
Lame.
But it's okay because we ended up, we got it eventually, King Kong versus Godzilla, and so and it happened.
It did. Yeah, they made it happen eventually.
Yeah.
Once we got to the age of combining everything, like KFC does crossovers with fucking Doritos, and
Mountain Dew.
Taco Bell is also fucking Long John Silver's.
They're doing
now.
chicken nuggets.
And like in the age of nothing is sacred and everything crosses over, of course we finally got Kong versus Godzilla.
And look, those movies, like I said, definitely a roller coaster. I think they're fun. I think 2014's
Which one do you think
Godzilla,
is good?
I think 2014's Godzilla is good.
Okay.
I think the rest of them are fun.
I think Godzilla -0 was good.
Well, that's not in the same universe, though.
Oh, okay.
Godzilla -1 is the best
Or
Godzilla
Godzilla
movie.
-1, yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, well, we also got the Godzilla with Matthew Broderick in the 90s.
We don't talk about. We don't talk about.
No, we do because the soundtrack was amazing.
Was it?
I owned the CD. Yes,
Of
it
course
was
you
great.
did.
It was great.
That is an abomination.
You had-
Actually, I'm sorry. I said 1976 King Kong is the worst remake of an original. Sorry, it's that one.
That Godzilla movie
It's that
where
one.
they're like,
it's the Godzilla.
We're
one.
halfway through. They're like, it's a lady lizard.
It's not even Godzilla.
No,
it's just a
not.
giant
It's just a
raptor
giant-
or
yeah.
something. Anyways,
Gojira.
Gojira. Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
Because
what they
there's
say.
actually whatchamacallit? There's some Godzilla animated War of Godzilla movies where that one shows up and the true Godzilla just immediately annihilates it with his atomic breath.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, interesting. I think the most interesting thing that I'm pretty sure King Kong had an influence on is you have very even just in its initial inception, you have the Saiyans of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z who during a full moon, a la a werewolf, turn into, instead of a werewolf, a giant space ape. Which and then what do? They have a giant beam cannon that comes out of their mouth, much like Godzilla. I really do think there was the double influence on that, because you've got these characters that are human, and they've got they're saying they've got tails, right? But they look like humans. And then on a full moon, if you haven't cut off their tail, they turn into a giant space ape and wreak havoc and blow shit up. And I fucking love that.
That's King Kong.
And that's very much like King Kong. It's very much Godzilla. And that's one of my favorite. That was probably the first really original, but really cool thing about a comic, a manga, and an animated show like Dragon Ball. Was that Godzilla King Kong influence?
Totally.
Yeah.
And so with that, I'm going to talk about some influence from King Kong, and then we're going to kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, let's do it.
There is a ton about
Wrap it up
King
like
Kong.
a sandwich, baby.
Yeah, baby. Because there's a ton. There's a ton of stuff that obviously I'm not going into detail of, about the production stuff. But we're talking about just in general, how it started and its legacy. And the legacy is pretty cool because the Beatles in 1968, speaking of the Beatles from earlier,
hell yeah,
their animated film Yellow Submarine includes a scene of the characters opening the door to reveal King Kong abducting a woman from her bed.
Oh, wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really crazy, John.
Oh, my God.
I can't believe he did that.
He holds her hand. The Simpsons episode Treehouse of Horror 3 features a segment called King Homer, which parodies it, only it's, King Homer's King Kong and
he
Marge
attacks a donut factory.
Yeah, and something like that.
Yeah, whatever. All right.
In 2005, the animated film Chicken Little parodies King Kong.
Okay.
The British comedy TV series The Goodies made an episode called Kitten Kong, in which a giant cat called Twinkle roams the streets of London, knocking over the British telecom tower.
Yep.
The controversial World War II Dutch resistance fighter Christian Lindemans eventually was arrested of suspicion of having betrayed secrets to the Nazis, was nicknamed King Kong due to his size.
That's
He's really
funny.
tall.
Okay.
And look, I just grabbed a couple of the few. We can go through some more. King Kong has been parodied, has been mentioned, has been referenced, has been redone. You know, it's one of those things that it's been around for so long. It's been referenced, it's been memed, it's, you know, I mean, it's everywhere, right? Like it's done so much stuff. To go over a couple more for you, in 1972, there was an 18-foot fiberglass statue of King Kong that was put up in England.
Oh, cool.
I think you'll like this one. Do you know who the Jimmy Castor Bunch is?
No.
They're an artist, and on one of their albums, they had a song called King Kong, kind of like the Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh, cool.
ABBA recorded King Kong song for their 1974 album Waterloo.
Hell yeah.
And Tenacious D wrote Kong. It was supposed to be released as a bonus track for the Japanese version of the Pick of Destiny.
Yep. And very famously, Invader Zim has an episode where the class hamster turns giant and picks its teeth with the Empire State Building. And the class hamster's name is Pee-Pee. And the episode involves them yelling Ultra Pee-Pee. I love it.
I did not know that.
You've not seen that episode? Invader Zim's amazing. It was a really good parody. It's the class hamster. Zim puts like a thing on it that makes it get bigger as it's eating, and it eats its way out of the classroom, getting like giant real quick. And the problem that people keep running into is that the military shows up and they want to shoot it, but it's so cute that they can't. So everyone has a hard time shooting it. And then in the end of the episode, they get Pee-Pee to attack a giant Ferris wheel, and then attach a rocket to a Ferris wheel and strap it to the Ferris wheel and then shoot it into space. And Zim's giving a speech about how he's probably out in the galaxy somewhere bringing joy to the universe because everyone's all sad that the cute thing was sent off into space. And as he's giving the speech, it like crash lands in the background and explodes.
So it's dead.
It's probably my favorite Kong reference. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. No, you hear it screeching in the background as it like crashes and explodes. Yeah. So it's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's
all
it. Of my information
on
and
King
my
Kong.
report on King Kong after watching and researching it.
So your
this
favorite
week.
King Kong is the original?
I would say still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I like the one
yeah.
with Jack Black, but it's too long. The Peter
It's too long.
Jackson
That's my
King
problem.
Kong is too long.
So when I watched that one,
Even the
I
theatrical
typically-
version's too long.
dude, it's way too long. So when I watched the 2005 one, I just skip right to when they're landing on the island
That makes sense. Yeah,
because everything else is like, who cares?
yeah, the beginning.
Not who cares,
Great
but-
actors and actresses, great filming, great
incredible.
movie, but too long. Too long. Yeah.
Too long.
King Kong too long, baby.
King Kong too long, baby.
All right.
But-
you can't do that.
What is your favorite fact about King Kong that I told you?
Probably that he had a sandwich shop on that island.
Knew it.
Yes. No, I think my favorite thing that I learned about King Kong was just like the general cultural influence that it had. That there was a bad 1970s version that I've never seen for some reason. Like because I told you as a kid I watched the black and white version. I didn't watch the 1970s version. Like
That's a good
that,
thing, 'cause
no
you might
one
have
ever
hated it.
brought that to me. Yeah, nobody was like, "Here, watch this, kid."
I watched that as a kid, and it sucked.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't watch that as a kid. Those are probably. I also really like. I like how King Kong has been used time and time again as a stand-in for our own misunderstanding of things that we like just kind of want to have and see and watch and be entertained by. You know, and like the dangers of just like seeing things and going, yeah, no, we can make a buck off that. You know, like I like I like the way that King Kong seems to pervade through culture now. You know, it's a catchy name. It's very simple. It's an easy reference, and everyone has seen some version of King Kong, even if it's just a poster. You know?
Yeah. And I mean, we could talk more about the themes because, like, obviously, there's a ton of layers with what Anne represents, what Kong represents. You know, Tis Beauty killed the beast. The story of the tribe.
What Jack
Kong
Black represents.
what Jack Black represent. Like, there is a ton of stuff there, and I didn't want to start unpacking it because once you do, you have to kind of unpack all of it, and I just don't think that's a thread I want to pull on 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah, not worth it. And now he has a power gauntlet, right? He's got the big fist. He can do that.
Dude, he has
can
an
do
axe.
that
He has
now,
a
too.
gauntlet.
He's just getting blinged out. Like we're in the era of Kong bling now. You know, like there have been many eras. There was the misunderstood giant beast that dies at the end of every movie era. There was the gonna escape whatever island they told me to stay on era. There was the bad era. Then we came up into the modern era where we got Kong. And then we got Skull Island, which was more of like a thriller, right? Like a nature thriller kind of. And now we're in the era where he's just being like completely suited up and goofed up and getting ready to fucking take on whatever comes his way from a galaxy or another dimension or the center of the planet because he lives on a hollow Earth.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah, Hollow Earth is in that too. I forgot.
Yeah, dude.
Hollow
Earth is like Hollow Earth is essential to the new plot of Godzilla and Kong. Like
it really is.
The Hollow Earth conspiracy is like the crux of that universe now.
It's incredible how hollow the Earth is.
It's wild. So thank you for bringing that. I did learn some stuff. I can't say that I like King Kong less or more, but I know more about him now.
Yeah.
Yep. I have something for you because you did task me with saying what my favorite DC superhero
I was going to ask you that next.
So I looked up a list earlier in this episode, and I remembered that the cartoon that existed for DC Comics and the comic series that existed for DC Comics and the characters that existed within them that I got the most excited for were the Wildcats.
Okay.
Yeah. And specifically, I loved Grifter. Now, Grifter is a character from the Wildcats who is an soldier type character. He was doing a life of crime. His name, first off, his superhero name is Grifter. His human name, his regular God-given birth name is Cole Cash, which
Cole
is
Cash.
just Cole, which is just it's cold cash, and then he's Grifter, which has to do with getting money from people. But he's a merc. He's a mercenary. And not only that, he's got this giant face-long bandana over his face, but he looks like Deadpool. And so just kind of like a wild, DC was just like, yeah, we can do that. They haven't done anything crazy with that character yet. So yeah, let's do that. And now everybody knows Deadpool. So you could probably never do a Grifter Wildcats thing.
I think a Wildcats movie was in the works for a while and then they canceled it.
Because Deadpool came out and crushed it.
Right.
And you can't and there's a bunch of different members of Wildcats. I would love to see a Wildcats movie because it gets really weird. It turns out Grifter has latent psionic powers, and there's the whole gen factor. Wildcats was essentially the covert tactician operations answer to the X-Men. That was DC was we're gonna do the X-Men too, but there's a specific team, and it lost a lot of the nuance that the X-Men has, but it does have a lot of charm in and of itself, and I do remember loving that comic and cartoon. And so I would say Grifter's my favorite, probably overall, if I'm reaching back in my memory. Modern day, I would say my favorite, and this is a relatively new favorite, but I love G.I. Robot so fucking much.
Oh my god, G.I. Robot's great. Yeah.
G.I. Robot is one of my favorite things ever in DC now. Just really I would say I love Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos was it was really good. It wasn't the best DC thing I've ever seen, but overall I loved the plot of it, and I loved
a nice tight little thing.
Yeah, Dr. Phosphorus was great. Rick Flag Sr.'s amazing. There's so much good happening in that show that I think could carry over even into just the DCU. And I love that it's canon in the DCU now. But I really love Dr. Phosphorus, and I really love G.I. Robot, man. Mm-hmm. So those are my favorites in the DC. If I had to pick if you're those are cop-outs, they're deep cuts, whatever, I would say my favorite overall hero, if I'm just picking from the regular ones, Justice League, Fantastic Four, that realm, I'd probably say either the Silver Surfer or Batman. Like, because just Batman, like, there's so many different versions of him, and you can find I think there's a Batman for everybody. You know?
Hey, everybody! Should I correct Kevin that Silver Surfer is Marvel?
Oh,
Or should I
fuck!
just let
I'm
him-
sorry.
Should I just
no,
let him think that?
no, sorry, Martian Manhunter. I was thinking of the
I know.
alien from another. Sorry, no, Martian Manhunter's cool.
We'll get emails.
Yeah, sorry, no, Martian Manhunter, who has like that weird like gray blue
Shapeshifter
okay.
from Mars.
Yeah, he's a shapeshifter. I like him, but I would say Batman's probably my favorite in DC, just because like there's multiple like Michael Keaton's Batman. You know, I love that. I really enjoy almost every Batman movie.
Really? So
I
can I tell you this,
honestly, genuinely enjoy almost every Batman movie.
Okay, so I want to make this video, and I've been thinking about it for a while.
'Kay.
I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah.
I want to make a video called "Batman is Bad," and
'Kay.
I have a very hot take that there are only 2 good live-action Batman movies.
Yep.
The rest are garbage.
That's fine. I would disagree with you.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are
For
but
many
I'm-
reasons.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is like after this Lord of the Rings video where some people are actually getting mad at me, even though like it's very clearly like a bait and switch, but people are mad at me for insulting the animated one, which let's be honest, if you're defending that movie as a Lord of the Rings fan,
Yeah.
I get it, but let's not defend it as a good movie. Like
No,
let's
it's not
be
a good
honest
movie.
here.
No.
Yes, did it pave the way for the new ones? Sure. But
No.
like don't
No, it
kid
didn't.
yourself into
No, it
thinking it's
didn't.
good.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
I
It
got a
was just-
comment that said that.
It was just good. Like, okay, people. Here's the thing. People love Ralph Bakshi, right? So you've released this Lord of the Rings is Bad video. I recorded our little like fun clickbait song
It's
for
so
it,
good.
right? Which is fun.
I love it.
And yeah, I love it, and I love the way that it opens. And you did a really good video. You should have expected this type of reaction from
Oh,
people.
absolutely.
And 2, should just allow it, because some people really do feel strongly about like
Oh, I'm gonna
here's
let
the
'em.
thing. You love King Kong. And like there's a lot of people who would point at a lot of King Kong stuff and go, that's bad. You know? And so like you're also allowed to come back and go, no, it's good for all these reasons, and this is why I love it. And I think that's what's going to happen. Anytime you do something, like if you do a Batman's Bad video, you're going to have a ton of people that don't like that, you know, that don't like that opinion. And when you throw it up on the internet, like, yeah, the discourse is just going to happen. It's inherent. It's built in, right? I mean, people will literally, like, slither their way out of their Reddit hole to come and tell you that your opinion's bad, you know. And so like they're like, that thing's not bad, I'm emotionally attached to it, it made up part of my childhood. Like, you know, there's plenty of things that I think maturity is recognizing that you can like things that are bad for reasons that are wholly your own, you know, and just kind of own that and just be like, yeah, but I get where someone else would come along and say this is bad, you know.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And like I kind of figured with something like this, it was either going to be I was going to get good sports that were like, you got me, or I was going to get people that were like, you're a piece of shit for doing this.
You're going to get both.
And I've gotten mainly the second. Mainly I'm getting pissed off Lord of the Rings fans. Which,
well, yeah, because that's a big fandom, and they're
Yeah.
that's like if you came out and you're like, the original Star Wars trilogy is bad, you know, or whatever, and you're just highlighting the bad parts of it.
well,
because
people
there
are mostly mad that, and this is kind of, I mean, this is
Hit
funny,
me.
but people are mostly mad because it's clickbait.
Oh well, yeah,
Yeah.
I would be mad.
Whatever.
That, dude, your picture is the most beloved trilogy of all time, and it says Lord of the Rings is bad, and then they click on it expecting a video that's going to logically explain, because what you've done, saying Lord of the Rings is bad is opening a debate, right? What you've done is you've said, here's my position in a debate. Right? Because that's what that is. When you have an opinion or you have something like that, usually what happens afterwards is you bring up the evidence and then you debate this claim that you've made. The burden of proof is on you. If we're looking at dialect in general, the way that we as humans approach dialect, you have said, I'm opening this dialogue with this piece of dialect and this is my position. And then they're clicking on it and they're not getting the thing that they thought of. And or then you're attacking another thing from Lord of the Rings that they do like, you know? So at the end of the day, you can't be mad at them for being mad about
I'm
one,
not.
the clickbait, two, that you're like trashing a thing that they probably love from their childhood, you know? So, and not only that, there's probably people who are like in their 40s and 50s who watch this religiously because it's Ralph Bakshi. People love Ralph Bakshi, dude. I told you when you first started making this, I'm like, I love Ralph Bakshi. I get where you're coming from, but I love him, and be ready.
It's kind of funny. I got one comment that really made me laugh where this person was like, I wrote out an entire paragraph. I was going to run you through the weeds. I was so angry. I clicked on the video and was like, you got me. And I was like, see, that's a good sport right there.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. It's also would not be unreasonable for a person to have that sort of a visceral reaction to something that they love being trash. Click on it and then be more mad that it's clickbait.
Yeah. I think that's
you trolled
what's
some
really
people
funny.
is what you did. You're like, I trolled some people, and here's how they're reacting.
And it's I genuinely I don't care. I mean, I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I just think it's really funny because I got one comment and YouTube.
They were like, burn in hell.
Well, YouTube will put comments that are vulgar and nasty as held until you approve or disapprove.
Yeah.
And I got one comment that was really this, you should kill yourself. And I was like, okay, now that's too far.
Well, that
I'm
might
all
be...
about you can insult me. I got a comment that was this is a horrible clickbait and I'm disliking because and I'm like, okay, that's fine. You're allowed to have that. I don't give a shit. Dislike the video. No one can tell. But to tell me to kill myself over a little fun bait and switch.
Well, you have to remember that also, Odie, this is out there for the whole world, which includes unsupervised immature minors who are saying that they're 18 plus on things. Because I know I did that as a kid. It was like, are you 18 years or older? And I was like, wait, I can just lie. Yeah, right? Of course I'm older than 18 years old. I can watch whatever I want on YouTube now, right? So, as a kid, I did the same thing. So you have to remember, you might be getting kill yourself from, a 10-year-old who doesn't even understand the weight of that statement yet, you know?
Nope.
And is that great? No, but, at the same time, you've thrown it up there, man, and you said Lord of the Rings is bad, and you're going to have a lot of people with a lot of different reactions, and some of them might even be,
tomorrow
just
Tomorrow I'm changing all of it. The thumbnail goes to the animated one. The title changes to the animated Lord of the Rings is weirder than you think. Everything changes after this weekend. I'm trimming the video back to the actual start. I just did this for the weekend.
Interesting.
I just did it for the weekend.
Very
I wanted to see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was always my plan.
Okay.
Always
all
my
right.
plan.
Cool. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you had a plan with it. I was fine with you trolling people too. I mean, whatever.
I think it's fun to troll people.
Just be ready for people to be mad.
Oh, yeah.
People don't like trolls is the end of that statement.
This isn't the first and this isn't the last video where people have left me. I mean, my Harry Potter video has some of the most hateful comments I've seen on my channel. I don't care.
Well,
people love to.
Well, the
love
J.K. Rowling stands are really upset about your nail polish. So that's where we're at on that. What's your jam this week?
My jam is Murderbot.
Oh, okay. With Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah, it's pretty good, dude.
He's guarding those scars.
I will say it's not what I expected.
Yeah.
I was expecting what I was told the series was, which was this security robot that's supposed to protect people, hacks itself and goes to be vigilante murdering robot of bad people. That's not really what it is. It's a little bit more flushed out than that, I guess. I would say it's really he is a security unit that hacks his governor model that allows him to kind of do and whatever he wants because all these security bots have to do whatever the humans say and no matter what when they give commands. And he ends up on this expedition on this planet with some people that are basically supposed to be the hippies of the universe. They don't have a lot of money, they make their own clothes, they're kind of outcasts in the universe. And on this planet some stuff starts happening and maybe he's involved, maybe he's not. And it's pretty good. It's really stupid in a funny way. A lot of the humor and jokes rely on his narration and the fact that he can see what everybody's doing because he has access to all the cameras. So a lot of the comedy is based around what people do in little cutaways or something that they say earlier in private that he knows about, and then it comes up later, around everybody else. But overall, it's a pretty good. It's a pretty fun series. It's short episodes, less than 30 minutes on Apple TV. There's 5 of them out right now. It's a quick watch. It's pretty enjoyable. I don't think it's gonna get a season 2 because I don't think it's doing super well. But so far, I'm enjoying it.
Hell yeah. Dude, that's cool. All right.
Yeah.
I got 2 jams. One is kind of like I'm gonna get back into so there's a show called Fellow Travelers that came out. I told you about this, and I caught the first episode, and I was not ready for how gay this show is.
Which one?
Fellow Travelers with Matt Balmer.
Oh, okay.
And Jonathan Bailey, and Matt Balmer and Jonathan Bailey are like real time gay lovers on this show, like big time. But like it's exploring this undercurrent of hypocritical culture that existed in the government at the time. Well, not but also kind of like a necessary piece of survival for these guys who were like gay but work for the government, but were helping McCarthy to find like because McCarthy was all about finding. Like, McCarthy was kind of like an American Hitler. Like, he was like, we have to find everybody who might be a deviant, right? Which could be any sort of sexual deviancy. But specifically, he was highlighting, like, gay culture, like homosexual, LGBTQ culture, right? And saying, like, no, we need to get rid of them. And then also we need to get rid of communists, which is very relevant when you think about the language of MAGA, right? So, like, thinking about that, I was like, oh, it's interesting to watch this and see the parallels. But then also, like, Matt Balmer's just a phenomenal actor anyway. And he's playing kind of like this, like, he's playing this kind of, like, gay Donald Draper government agent type character who's like, you're like, are you actually, like, a good guy at all? Like, but then he has like redeeming moments. It's really good. It's a dynamic show. I don't think enough people are gonna end up watching it, but it's really fucking good. Like, I watched the whole first episode. Yeah, and I was like, okay, good. And then my second jam is the song "Bet" by an artist called Fisher King. Fisher King is from Canada. It's spelled Fischer. King, and like brand new track. Just an EP that came out. Obviously a newer artist because he's only got like 1,600 followers on Instagram. But he has listed himself as existential crisis pop, which I can say that is definitely apt. And that completely describes the EP that Fisher King put out. But the song is Bet, B-E-T, by Fisher King. I cannot highlight this enough. It came out at the end of last year, like December 6th of last year, but I don't know how the algorithm pushed it my way, but it did, and I'm very grateful for that because I've been jamming that fucking song for the past like 2 days, and I probably listened to it about 20 times. It's really, really good.
Nice.
And that's another episode of the UnPop podcast. What are we talking about next week? What are we doing? What's next week? Are we watching a movie this week? Is there something coming out this week?
28 years later, bro.
28 years later. Not how
and then
late.
The Dad Formula 1 movie comes out after
our
the weekend
podcast,
after.
7 days later, is on 28 years later. And then the following week, we're doing Formula 1, which is actually going to be cool.
I'm excited for Formula 1.
I'm excited for both of these movies. I want fast zombies. Okay, I really, like, zombies are kind of overplayed still. You know, like, there's a lot, like, fucking The Walking Dead is apparently still on. I don't know. But, like...
Oh, yeah, there's, like, spin-offs and shit.
28 years later, coming 25 or 26 years later, after the original film was made, I think is really good. And I like the idea that, like... humanity has survived in a pocket, but there's different rules, and these people got to go back out into like the mainland where everything was bad, you know, like, so I'm looking forward to 28 years later and seeing like just that. I like a good post-apocalyptic film, really, is what it comes down to.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, which I'm a fan
yeah,
of.
It doesn't have to be zombies, but it's cool when it's zombies. I'm cool with it.
I'm glad it is.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's not technically zombies. It's the rage virus, whatever, but, you know.
They're fucking zombies, bro. They're
zombies.
All right, humans with rabies who are very much like zombies and want to eat you. See, it doesn't roll off the tongue the same.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. All right, that's another episode of the UnPop podcast. Thank you, everybody, for traversing this lovely and absurd, chaotic world with us. Be free to check out Be free to? No, fuck. Hold on.
C3PO.
All right, you know what? You take us out. You try this. I'm failing.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to another wonderful, delightful, incredibly tasty episode of the UnPop podcast. I know, me too, actually. I don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, Magnum Opus, if you want to fall for some clickbait or just see some movies that might be bad. Art by FrankAce.
Yep.
Music by moi.
No, me. I do.
No,
it.
you always say moi. Isn't
No,
that?
you would say toi to me.
Music by moi.
No, toi. All right.
If you want us to email, or if you want us to email at your funeral, podcast
If
in
you want us
at
to
my
email
secret power.
at your funeral, if you would like us to podcast live at your funeral, this is a joint effort today. If you want us to podcast live at your funeral, or if you have any subpoenas, questions, comments, concerns about our mental health, feel free to email mysecretpoweris@gmail.com. Thank you so very much, Odie. What do you think that the sandwich shop on Skull Island would be like? What do you think? Who mans this? What is the actor playing this role, and why is it necessary for the next Kong movie?
Okay, here's my pitch. The gang opens a sandwich shop. They get an opportunity to go to Kong Skull Island.
It's always sunny in Philadelphia?
It's always.
I'm
sunny,
in,
dude. I love
Hell
that.
yeah. No,
and
that's
they're
perfect.
doing because Charlie eats paint, so he'd be the perfect one to create a sandwich.
I
shop.
love it. Yep. That's it.